announcement to make. Just make a short announcement. The visitor. Just make a short announcement. Ukucela kumhlonishwa nomntwana baphethe uhlelo bengifisa ukumemezela ngibhekise endlunkulwini kwabini nakwindlunkulu yesilo sakwakhangela Mndokombana nakubantwana amazinyana aso nendlunkulu nje eqondene nalokho kakhulu emizini yaseSuthu nomzokwaminya in particular ukuthi umntana enkosi lo ngokutshenwa kwami u-advocate Madonsela senior counsel uthi ushiyile iwili yakhe ngakho-ke lo ummeli wamajaji senior usendleleni ngakho-ke bengicela endlunkulu ukuthi mhlawumbe ngo-5 ngabe kuyabonakala ukuthi kuhlanganaphi ngoba phela le nto iqondene ngqona besendlunkulu hhayi umphakathi yokumemezela muva ngoba imedia ikhona ukuthi kuthiwani ngoba ngibona ukuthi lokho ngokumemezele ngoba indlela yaphambili socosha ngoba kubenzeke lokho ngoba kwenzeke siza ukuthi indlovukazi njengoba ihambile nanjengoba ihambe ngendlela ezuma kangaka kodwa ishiye ibhalile ukuthi indlela ebheke phambili kufanele ihambe kanjani singadukuzi oswini. Just shortly that I'm making this announcement particularly to members of the royal family that an advocate of the High Court Senior Counsel Advocate Madonsela informed me that he has got a will that Her Majesty, our late Queen, actually entrusted with him. And then I was thinking that probably about 5 o'clock, I think that we'll find the venue where members of the royal family, it would have been a good thing also, of course, Your Royal Highness is the members of the royal family of Swaziland, if they were present. I think that it would be a good thing to know what the Queen actually has said in the will.
Ngicela ukubonga on behalf of Mama uPheki Inkonyeni umphathiswa Kwazulu-Natal ngiyibongela nami ngokuthi nikwazi ukubekezela kuze kube manje size sifike esikhathini lapho siliphothula khona lolu hlelo. We are very grateful. Your presence has made this memorial service a very big success and it's the pride of the nation. Thank you ever so much. Announcements have already been made, but I can rerun that again. Abantwana basendlunkulu bayacelwa ukuthi baye esigodlweni uma besuka la. Bese kuthi ke laba abafake ama-tags amnyama bayacelwa ukuthi baye kuleli atende okuyizikhulu zethu ziye lapha bese kuthi abanye bazolithola usizo khona la nasetendeni.
Well, thank you very much. We had the Prime Minister of AmaZulu Nation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, a short while ago, making that important announcement that the members of the royal family have now been called into a meeting which is going to take place at about 5 o'clock where Princess Queen Mantfombi Dlamini's will is going to be read out to family members. Ayanda, a lot has been said, perhaps just before we get to the topic, a lot has been said about the role that Regent Dlamini Zulu played in actually developing the community of Nongoma.
Certainly, Simpiwe, from speaker to speaker after today, who reflected on the life and times of the late Queen. Of course, I think to sum it up, described as a woman of great dignity, grace and humility, one who served with love and passion, who dedicated her life to the AmaZulu nation, to uplifting communities, and in particular, women and young, youth, in fact, not just the young girls or maidens whom she worked very, very closely with, but extending to the orphans and those that were less privileged. And so definitely a huge loss for the people of KwaNongoma and surrounding areas. And I suppose Simpiwe, who work and she touched people across the province, across South Africa. Throughout this week, we've heard in Johannesburg where she had passed away, maidens, Amabuto, the people of Johannesburg also speaking about how they had been touched, how she had worked very closely with them. So certainly this has been a huge loss for the people of Kwazulu-Natal, and as I said, throughout the country. We've also, of course, heard for the first time here members of the royal family in Eswatini. Her brother, Prince Kubuza, was here today to pay his tributes on behalf of the brother King Mswati. Also, of course, saying that she represented the kingdom of Eswatini well, and they're very proud of her and had hoped that she was going to recover. They're deeply saddened and saying that this is not just a loss for the AmaZulu nation, but AmaSwati are weeping back home. They too have a huge loss, having lost their princess.
Certainly, Ayanda. Well, when the memorial service started, Ayanda, we saw interesting scenes outside the marquee where Amabuto were being led by Prince Mangosuthu Zulu, coming outside the memorial service, chanting slogans, Uyinkosi, Yamakhosi, perhaps giving an indication that the question of succession is a done deal for now.
Definitely a very significant moment. We had been anticipating it and waiting for it, seeing Prince Mangosuthu there leading Amabutu. Is this an indication? Well, definitely. I mean, we've already heard, Simpiwe, that in the will that the king had left, although is being disputed by some members of the royal family, but indeed it was said that the Queen Mother would, or rather the Regent Queen would then take over the throne for the interim period. Thereafter, all indications was that her son, the eldest son of the late Queen and the late King, was then going to lead and take over the throne, leading AmaZulu nation.
Certainly, Ayanda. I'm just going to ask my colleague to come forward a bit, because I see some of the dignitaries are already making their way outside the marquee. I spotted AmaZulu traditional Prime Minister, and that's Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, walking out of the marquee. So we're just going to try and see where to hold.
All right, so let's move as we try to move and see if we can get an opportunity to speak to the AmaZulu traditional Prime Minister as he makes his way out here. Inkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi. We can see if we can get an opportunity to speak to him. All right, his son next to him, Zuzifa, is allowing us an opportunity to speak to Inkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Shenge, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, Sir Shenge, for your time. It has been wrapped up, a difficult week that it has been. Last night, the Queen was interred, and you now her last send-off. Your comments, sir.
I didn't get I didn't get what you were saying to me.
Last night, Shenge, the Queen interred, And now the people of Kwazulu-Natal have come to bid their final farewells to her as you wrap up what has been a difficult week for the royal family.
Yes, it's still a difficult time because the whole time of mourning is always a difficult time because, as you can see, there need to be closure because just now, I mean, people say all sorts of things about the way forward, but I've already announced that the royal family is going to meet today because an advocate of the High Court Senior Counsel, Advocate Mantfombi, will come to read to them the will of the late Queen. So we'll know our way forward from that time. And we'll announce it to the media because the media, I suppose, will still be around.
It is. So would that mean, Shenge, that a possible successor could be announced today? Is that giving us an indication? How
can I know when I say that the will is going to be read? But it depends what is on the will. I don't know what's on the will. But it depends on what is on the will.
Thank you, Shenge. Thank you, Shenge. All right. All right then, Nkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi there, indicating that, of course, it is still, it has been and is still going to be a difficult time for the royal family. Of course, he's saying that what is going to happen once the dignitaries now leave, the members of the royal family are then going to be making their way to the palace, where at around 5 o'clock this afternoon, an advocate, Mantfombi, will be coming through to read the will. And he says he does not know. He's not too sure, Simpiwe, at this point, what that will is going to say. Of course, Simpiwe, earlier on we were speaking about the fact that there was the 2 court applications before the Pietermaritzburg High Court, and as we had reported earlier on, that those matters have now been withdrawn from the roll. Our understanding is that the court then requested that the 2 matters, one was pertaining to Queen Mantfombi Zulu, who wanted or was claiming 50% of the king's estate on the basis that she and the king had a civil marriage, and the other application brought by the king's 2 daughters, they were claiming that, or they specifically was dealing with the signature of the will, and they disputing that the will that was read out shortly after the king's passing, the signature on that will was not that of their father, and in fact they had appointed a handwriting specialist who then had said to them that it looks like there were disparities in that signature. So all eyes, Simpiwe, are going to be on what is going to happen. This all-important will that is going to be read out, which will then give an indication of what were the Queen's wishes. In fact, Simpiwe, we knew that although she was the interim leader, the regent of the AmaZulu nation, but there was going to come a time where she would have had to pronounce who was going to ascend to the throne.
Exactly, Ayanda. Well, all indications are that by the end of business today, the country as well as AmaZulu nation as a whole will now be in a position to know who their appointed leader is. I'm just going to ask my colleague to come with me as we try and walk towards. I saw a group of Amabutho there chanting slogans, Ayanda. Most of the dignitaries have already left, obviously, but we still have that group of Amabutho outside Kwakhangela Royal Palace. Ayanda?
Yeah, certainly, Simpiwe. Amabutho would be eagerly awaiting, together with I suppose the entire AmaZulu nation, eagerly awaiting that decision. Let's quickly try. We're trying to maneuver our way here. There are vehicles, as some of the dignitaries are making their way out. Nkosi Buthelezi, at the moment, he just came out of the marquee, and what he was doing was then speaking to Amabutho. At all times, because Amabutho were not inside the marquee and were not part of the proceedings, it is important that he comes out and also speaks to them. Let's just see if we can listen in now to one of the leaders of Amabutho, to what they are saying.
usukhuluma into okungeyiyo ngezomndeni ntambama phelela lapho uyayivumela impi uyayivumela impi uyayivumela shono sisho ngempi untulise usikise ukhalela ngoba mkhonto ukhalela ngobana ukhalela ngoba mkhonto ukhalela izinkomo ukhalela ngoba mkhonto ukhalela ngobana thwela amashobe izinkomo thwela amashobe izinkomo ukhalela izinkomo ukhalela ngoba mkhonto ukhalela ngobana ukhalela ngoba mkhonto pasapa
All right, Mabuthu, there as they were just briefly receiving a briefing from Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Simpiwe, everybody is on their toes, I suspect, and mostly particularly Amabutho. These are the AmaZulu warriors. These are the protectors of the king. These are the men who are eagerly awaiting to know who will take to the throne, who will be their leader, who will be the next king of the AmaZulu nation.
Exactly, Ayanda. Well, by the arrival of Prince Mangosuthu Zulu, a lot of people already had an idea, because it's no secret, Ayanda, that he has been tipped to take over, being of course the eldest son of the regent queen of AmaZulu, Queen Mantfombi Dlamini Zulu. She is the great wife. You'd recall that in the will that was left by His Majesty AmaZulu King Kwazulu-Natal, she was appointed as the regent and named as a person who was going to then be able to be in a position to name King Kwazulu-Natal's successor.
Indeed so. And some people, when we speak about and pose it to explain to our viewers, the great wife. The great wife, she comes from royalty, being the daughter of Eswatini King Sobuzwe. But also she was the wife whose lobola was paid for by the nation.
Exactly.
And as a result, the fact that she is the chosen wife, chosen by the AmaZulu, she then becomes the great wife. And that in the history of AmaZulu, speaking to cultural experts, they've explained it to us that as a result, that is why she has been selected or chosen by the king to be the person who will then name or appoint the successor to the throne.
Certainly, Ayanda. So all eyes now will be on that crucial meeting, which is going to be held by members of the royal family at about 5 o'clock this afternoon, where that will is going to be read out to the members of the royal family, informing the members of the royal family of the decisions taken by the regent Queen Mantfombi Dlamini. Asiphinde sibamukele futhi nababukeli sikhulume ke ulwimi lwesintu Ayanda, sisho ukuthi cha usuku lwanamhlanje luyingqophamlando kakhulu lapha kwaZulu, ngoba umntwana akaphinda angene noNdunankulu wesizwe sakwaZulu ukubalulile lapha ngaphakathi enkonzweni ukuthi cha kuzofika ke ummeli wenkantolo ephakeme ezokwefundela amalungu asendlunkulu ifa incwadi yefa ke eshiwe indlovukazi uMantfombi Dlamini Zulu. Leyo ncwadi ke anda izosinikeza isithombe sokuthi izifiso zikaNdlunkulu bezimi kanjani malungana nokuthi ubani ozongena kulesihlalo esimqoka kangaka kaZulu.
Kunjalo Simphiwe okunye ke ngicabanga ukuthi sekudale ukuthi ummeli lo okwazi ukuthi afike namhlanje azobonana noNdlunkulu. Uzokhumbula ke ukuthi beku nezicelo ebeyifakwe lapha enkantolo ephakeme esemgungundlovu. Esinye ke bekuyicala ebelifakwe uNdlunkulu uSibongile Dlamini Zulu efuna ingxenye noma enxusa inkantolo ukuthi kumele athole ingxenye yefa yesilo. Esinye ke sicelo besifakwe amazinyana esilo la bekhala ngokuthi isignature ebesibhalwe kuhlolwe lwefa lesilo akusona isignature sikayise wabo. Ngakho ke sikutholile ke lokho ukuthi izolo inkantolo ikibithe ake ahlangane abameli lizothi lolu daba ke likhishwe ke kuhlwa inkantolo kuhlwa lenkantolo lokho sithi ke court roll nokube ngicabanga ukuthi ke Simphiwe ilokho kwazi kusekuvulekele ukuthi namhlanje ke ummeli uMadonsela uadvocate Madonsela lo kuthiwa manje ngo5 uzobe sehlangana noNdlunkulu ikhona kube sekuphendla indlela ka ukuthi akwazi. Ngicabanga ukuthi Simphiwe ukuba leli cala ebilikhona noma lamacala befakwe lapha enkantolo ephakeme eMgungundlovu ebesakhona mhlawumbe lokho bekuzophazamisa uNdlunkulu bengakwazi ukuthi okuzoqhubeka namhlanje kukwazi ukuthi aqhubeke.
Kunjalo Ayanda manje libumbana ihora lesihlanu khona namhlanje umndeni waseNdlunkulu uzohlangana ufundelwe leyo ncwadi yefa. Ngaphambilini Ayanda ithe iqala nje inkonzo yesikhumbuzo kwafika amabutho eholwa ke umntwana uMisuzulu Zulu. Abaningi ke Ayanda bazokhumbula ukuthi uyena ke umntwana abaningi abathi cha uyena ukubukeke ngathi uzongena kulesihlalo esimqoka kangaka KwaZulu. Maybe if you could just switch to English again Ayanda for the benefits of other viewers as
certainly,
well. Certainly, just giving an indication that that crucial meeting which is going to take place at 5 o'clock will be that meeting which all of us are waiting for, eagerly waiting for, to hear what the will that was left by Her Majesty Queen Mantfombi Dlamini Zulu says in terms of the issue of succession.
Yeah, some people, and I'm just looking around at the people who are here, who've been speaking in the background, and we've been picking up many of the people now saying, should we go, should we leave, should we stay? But definitely, Amabuto are here. They are not going to leave today until that possible announcement has been made. And again, for viewers who may have just joined us, Mangosuthu Buthelezi made that announcement at the end of the memorial service, just before the memorial service wrapped up, where he then said at 5 o'clock, he then again said to us that he knows that members of the media are here and that possibly once that will has been read to the members of the royal family, there is a likelihood that he's then going to come out and address the media this evening on what the will said, and then possibly who will be the next king of the AmaZulu nation.
Thank you very much, my colleague there, Ayanda Mhlongo, giving us a picture of what transpired here at Kwakhangela Royal Palace. As of course we wait for that crucial meeting at 5 o'clock, where the official will of the late regent of AmaZulu, Queen Mantfombi Dlamini, is going to be read out to members of the royal family. We will definitely continue to be here on the ground to monitor what the developments are in terms of that will, and also get a comment from the royal house with regards to that will being read to them. For now, it's back to you in Johannesburg.
Simphiwe Makanya and Ayanda Mhlongo wrapping up the memorial service and the funeral service of Queen Mantfombi Dlamini Zulu being held in Kwazulu-Natal there. So it's a good afternoon from me and a good afternoon and goodbye. Anastasia Arends at the top of the hour with more news for you.